Okay, I think I'm going to go on ahead and start the next part while the other one's editing. 6. Training. Katya and I were lazing around. The two of us have been working out in the courtyard of the castle to try raising our skill levels. Well, actually, there were 3 of us if you count Faye. Anyway, we had finished for the moment and were resting in the garden looking at the flowers. That was tough. My magic-related stats are solid, but my physical stats still need some work. Since Sue wasn't around for once, Katya was speaking in Japanese today. Yeah, but still, we've got better reflexes than we had in our old lives, and it's nice how much easier it is to improve with training. Totally, it always seemed pointless when we had to run marathons at school and stuff, but every step you run here builds your stamina. In this world, both skills and stats only improve when you use them. Still, since I couldn't level up yet, the only way I could strengthen my stats was by training the old-fashioned way. But that old-fashioned training was all you had to do to get stronger. It was tough, but when you knew it would pay off, it was a lot easier to stay motivated. You may be a girl now, but you're still boyish on the inside. Personally, I have no desire to work out so intensely. You say that, but you've been working out too. Well, I hardly have much of a choice. What do you mean? Well, I suppose it's not as immediate now that I'm no longer in the egg or freshly hatched. But I'm basically on the verge of death. Huh? Since when? I had no idea. Well, of course not. I never told you. So what gives? You know that I was found in the dungeon called the Great Elro Labyrinth, right? Well, it turns out I was in considerable danger at the time. Apparently I was in a spider's nest and it nearly ate me. Seriously? Seriously. But that spider ended up being some inferior species, so it couldn't break through the shell and gave up. Whoa, sounds like a close call. You might have wound up dead before you were even born then. Right, unlike in Japan, you can be killed at any moment in this world, so you've got no choice but to get as strong as you can. Basically, I have to evolve. Evolution occurs when a monster satisfies certain conditions, like reaching a particular level. Usually it comes with a new appearance, better stats, and so on. You heard Miss Anna, don't you? If I don't evolve from this form within 10 years or so, I'll die. Faye's current species was a monster called an Elro Colift. Oh, we haven't run into those yet. Oh, that'd be awkward if we did. Which had a short lifespan. In order to prolong her life, she had to evolve. To that end, she had to defeat other monsters and raise her level, and if she wanted to do that, she had to be stronger. Unlike us, Faye had a very real need to become more powerful. That was why she voluntarily participated in our training sessions. So, how are you doing? My instantaneous, persistent, strength, and solidity skills are all up to level 8. I was using the appraisal stone in my hand to check my status. It was level 9 belonging to Katya's family. This item could be considered a national treasure, yet Katya casually borrowed it from her home. I had to wonder if the Duke was alright with it, but since it was convenient, I decided to just be grateful and use it. Your skills sure go up quickly now. Quickly, man. Is it just a difference in natural talent or what? Katya seemed a bit frustrated. Even though we were doing all the same things, I was getting levels faster. In this world, anyone can get stronger with effort, but the speed of progress varies. They say it's due to a difference in talent. I mean, if they've called me a prodigy in the Duke's family all my life, how can you be this much faster than me? You're cheating, you cheating bastard. You should give me some of that talent, too. I avoided Katya's and Faye's envious gazes. It wasn't like there was anything I could do. Katya and Faye's skills had strengthened steadily too, but not as much as mine. For some reason, Faye had fire resistance and petrification resistance, so I was kind of jealous of that. But I figured she'd get mad if I said that, so I kept it to myself. By the way, have you used any skill points? No, I kind of haven't been able to commit yet, so I've still got them saved up. Oh, I think I know what you mean. You want to keep them for when it really matters, right? Skill points can be used to acquire new skills or add to the proficiency level of the skills you already have. Usually people are born without any, but as a reincarnation bonus or something, Katya, Faye, and I had plenty of them since birth. You've got 100,000 points, you cheating Borgus bastard? Hey, that's even meaner than before. I really hadn't gotten around to using them yet. At first I wanted to acquire magic skills, but Anna told me not to use magic, so I backed off. She probably didn't realize I had skill points, but to take advantage of that and acquire the skills secretly would feel like a betrayal. Since then, I hadn't felt like using them. Does this mean that you two have used some of yours then? Just the 100 points it took to get telepathy. What about you, Katya? Only 1,000. If I remember correctly, Katya had 50,000 points. Given her behavior during the conversation, I had assumed she'd used them all up, but she barely touched them. What'd you get? I'm not telling. What? Come on, just tell us. You promise not to laugh? Yeah, I swear, what is it? Oh, I'm ready to laugh, don't worry. Hey, whatever, I got appraisal, okay? I didn't laugh. but I probably looked baffled. Without thinking, I exchanged glances with Faye. Appraisal is more or less the one skill you shouldn't acquire. If anything, I was really curious as to why he did it anyway. Why would you do that? I couldn't help it. Appraisal is a staple of reincarnation stories. It's tough gathering info in a new world, right? So if this were a novel or something, the protagonist would be super good at appraisal. I just wanted to do that too. But appraisal is like the #1 offender on the list of crappy skills. Why would you spend your points to get it knowing that? Listen, man, didn't know that at the time. I was still just a baby when I got that skill. You remember how hard it was not understanding anything, right? So of course I wanted to try and get some more information. And as soon as I started thinking about appraisal, the word of God spoke to me. So of course I picked it up on impulse. Yeah, it made sense when you put it that way. I did remember my anxiety when I was a clueless baby. Not being able to understand what the people around me were saying stressed me out too. And since the word of God spoke in Japanese, it was only natural that you'd want to cling to that. So is appraisal as bad as they say it is? Yeah, it sucks. It's totally worthless unless it's a super high level. I get a headache every time I use it, and as a bonus, you won't get any proficiency from appraising the same thing twice unless you wait a long time in between. So it's ludicrously hard to level up. I do my best to appraise my proficiency whenever I have spare time, but I'm still only level 4. It's breaking my heart, man. At least you got to level 4. As hearing about it was irritating. Still holding the appraisal stone, I reappraised my skill point field. As soon as I did so, a list of available skills was displayed along with the required skill points. I looked through until I found the appraisal skill. Oh hey, I can get appraisal for 100 points. What? For real? 100 points is the lowest number needed to acquire any skill. Skills that could be acquired for a cheap 100 points was either equally ineffective or particularly compatible with the user. The fact that Katya had to use 1,000 points to get appraisal proved that it wasn't truly an ineffective skill. Sure, it wasn't very helpful at a low level, but it could be a major asset if priced high enough. My low price meant I was particularly compatible with the appraisal skill. After a moment of hesitation, I acquired appraisal. My remaining skill points were down to 99,900. I got appraisal. What? For real? Katya repeated herself. Well, don't come crying to me if you can regret it later. Well, I'll cross that bridge if I come to it. I've still got plenty of points anyway. Nobody likes a man without a plan, you know. For the time being, I decided to hang on to the rest of my points for a more important time. Okay, so both Katya and Shun have appraisal. Or Shlain, whatever you want to... I don't know which one. I'm using the... I guess the ones that come to mind easier for me. 10. Clearing the lower stratum. I survived. I bask in the joy of this fact for a moment. I'm alive! What a wonderful feeling! At the same time, though, panic slowly overwhelms my heart. What am I going to do now? My nest is ruined, completely beyond repair. I look at the site where the breath attack had hit. There's a huge crater in the wall there. How strange. Is it even possible to cave in a wall like that? I thought craters were formed when meteorites or whatever crashed into the ground, so how am I looking at one on a vertical surface? It seems fairly deep too. How very strange. Despite the fact that I'm standing around in a defenseless daze, the bees aren't attacking me. Maybe the earth dragon freaked them out too? I can't blame them. That thing is a terror. I'm still scared myself. Really, what am I going to do now? I can still try to break through the bee's territory and return to the original passage. As long as the earth dragon doesn't come back, of course. I was lucky to have survived this time, but if the same thing happens again, I doubt I'll have the same fortune. It's like the dragon saw my nest as an annoyance and it deliberately destroyed it. In other words, if I make another one, it'll probably just aggravate the monster even more. In which case, that option is out of the question. I'm a little too afraid to do it anyway. My nerves are totally shot at this point. The last thing I want to do is provoke the wrath of the Earth Dragon. Of course, it's possible that I'm misunderstanding and there's no particular motivation behind the destruction of my nest. But I was like, there's something there, but I'll go away. Considering how powerful it is, though, it's entirely possible that it was a calculated move. But from the perspective of a weakling like me, the result was the same either way. If I run into the Earth Dragon, I'll die. Simple as that. I've successfully avoided death twice now. Both times I was extremely lucky. However, I don't think luck was the only factor. Is it possible that despite its overwhelming power, the dragon didn't notice me hiding? I think so. I want to think so. I'm assuming it's because of your stealth and your fear resistance. It must not have sensed you. At least, otherwise I have nothing left to cling to. My one and only means of survival. Hiding and somehow staying out of the way of the dragon and far from its territory. That's the only way. I can only rely on my stealth skill. When I got it, I didn't think it'd be particularly useful, but now it's my lifeline. Its skill level is 5. To be honest, that makes me a little nervous, but I have no choice but to rely on it. My mind is made up. I look at the ground. The earth dragon left some magnificent footprints behind. My gaze followed them toward where the dragon was headed. There was a single large passage, so it's somewhere down that way. Just thinking about it makes me nervous. I head in the opposite direction. Obviously, who would go after a dragon by choice? I don't know where this path leads. To be honest, it would probably be better to ignore my feelings and climb out of the hole, but that just isn't possible. All logic aside, my heart is completely against this course. I proceed with caution, hiding myself as I go. If only I had a cardboard box, the ultimate stealth device. That would probably get the attention of the monsters, because that's something they don't see normally. Whew, am I a little calmer now, maybe? Come to think of it, my HP took a serious hit when I fell before, but now it's completely recovered. HP auto-recovery is amazing. If only I'd used skill points for this instead of detection, but I managed to learn it of my own accord, so it worked out. I was too frazzled to pay attention to it earlier, but I wonder how quickly it recovered. Since my skill level is relatively low, it probably wasn't all that fast. But it seems like I'd be able to take care of small injuries without a problem. Other than that, I also noticed that my red total stamina bar is still full. Why is that? This has never happened before, so I wonder if maybe something happened to make it stop decreasing, but I have no idea what that might be. There isn't a bug where it's actually going down, but it isn't displaying properly or something, is there? It sure would suck to suddenly run out of stamina and be paralyzed or something. But I believe in you, Appraisal. I know I can count on you to always have my back now. I believe in you, although when I think about your track record so far, no, I still totally believe in you, I think. My appraisal skill may be due for an upgrade too. It's been a while since it last leveled up after all, and I've been appraising non-stop this whole time. Considering the giant leap forward when it hit level 6, I have high hopes for the next level up too. Hopefully it will start displaying skills and stuff soon. Not knowing the effects of some of my abilities is a little inconvenient, and one of the skills I don't understand may be able to help me out of this current situation. That's probably too much to hope for, but it's a slight chance to improve things a little. I'm willing to take any help I can get during these desperate times. Maybe there's a skill that can inform me about enemy locations or something? I think that's what your detection skill was supposed to do. If that's possible, I could keep constant tabs of the dragon's location while I traveled. It'd be nice if I could use detection, but that's useless. A map would be nice too. I have no idea whether this path will actually lead somewhere safe. I mean, it's just as likely that it will take me somewhere even more dangerous. In that case, well, I'll probably die. Anyway, for now, I have to trust in my luck, bad or otherwise. Please, I'm begging you, let this path lead somewhere safe. The path I'm traveling along is pretty big. Big enough for the 6-foot-long beast to fly around unhindered, as well as a 15-foot giant praying mantis-like creature. Elro Level 7 status appraisal failed. The giant mantis creature uses its sickle-like claws to intercept a swarm of bees. Unlike a normal praying mantis, this thing has 6 arms. It looks like an Asura demon. The bees are trying to attack from the air, but they can't get too close for fear of entering the range of the sickle, so the battle is at a bit of a stalemate. I hide in the shadows of some rocks, observing the situation. Neither side has noticed my presence. My stealth is still working even better than I thought. As I peek at them cautiously, I appraise the species. Elro, a praying mantis-type monster that lives in the Great Elro Labyrinth, lower stratum. It excels at strong physical attacks with its sickles. Oh, one of the bees got sliced in half. Those things must be really sharp to bisect something with a single swipe like that. If they're that strong, they may even be able to cut through my thread. Well, it doesn't seem to have noticed me, so I figured I'll just scurry on by. Wait, though. There are some words in this appraisal results I haven't seen before. Great Elro Labyrinth, lower stratum. An area located between the middle stratum and the bottom stratum, populated by many powerful monsters. Wow, really? So this place is named the lower stratum? Wait, so there's an layer even lower than this? There are lots of strong monsters here, too. I almost wish it didn't tell me that. Still, I'm surprised to learn that there's a lower level than this. All I can picture is a hellish place crawling with super powerful monsters. I mean, it's the lowest level of the biggest labyrinth of the world. Monsters always get stronger the further down you go in a dungeon. And if this is lower stratum, its lower stratum has reasonably strong monsters already, the bottom stratum can only be worse. A whole bunch of enemies in the same league as that earth dragon. Just imagining it is horrifying. Although I do have one more thought. Most likely the area I was in before was the upper stratum. There were humans exploring up there after all, so it's probably connected to the outside world. In which case I might have been closer to the exit than I thought. But I guess it doesn't matter now. At any rate, I have to escape from the stratum. And once I get out of here, there's still the middle stratum too. Hopefully this path is connected to the next floor up. I sure don't want to go down on the bottom stratum. Oh, another bee bit the dust. They're probably going to lose then. The praying mantis thing sure is strong, probably even stronger than the snake. which is strange considering that snake seemed like a boss monster to me before. It obviously doesn't compare to the dragon by any stretch of the imagination, but this mantis monster still seems intense. The snake is rapidly dropping in my mental rankings. What if it's a relatively weakling by the standards of the lower stratum? Well, it may be too early to judge something like that. It's possible that this mantis is just exceptionally strong after all. At least it's what I think at the moment. Just as the praying mantis cuts down the third bee, a totally unexpected fate befalls it. More specifically, a giant spider appears out of nowhere and crushes it in its jaws. Huh? Wait, what? Greater Terratect. Level 18, status appraisal failed. Oh wow, it's my super evolved form. Seriously? Greater Terratect, evolved form of the spider-type monster species Terratect, a carnivore with powerful venom in its fangs. Oh, so if I keep evolving, I'll end up like that? It's still small compared to the giant mama spider I saw before, but it does look like to be around 30 feet long. It dwarfs the praying mantis. Wait, it bit that thing and killed it without even whipping out any thread, didn't it? Does that mean it has crazy high strength? My strength stat is still only 21. How many times do I have to evolve before I get to that? Well, at any rate, it's time to take my leave before it finds me. This is one battle I won't win. Yes, one thing is abundantly clear. The lower stratum is insane. What about it, you ask? Exactly what you just saw. My life depends on my stealth skill even more now. Maybe I was too hasty with my decision. Should I have tried breaking through the bee's territory after all? But at least I don't feel the same sense of impending doom that I did around that dragon. Besides, even the bees could beat some of the monsters here, so it's not entirely unbelievable for me to survive. Sure, the mantis and that big old spider seem strong, but other than that, maybe I can handle the rest? Or at least some of them anyway. Well, if I see monsters I think I can take, I'll go ahead and eat them. Otherwise, I'll proceed in stealth mode. As of now, my red stamina gauge still hasn't decreased. If I can trust that display, then there's no need to panic. I can just take my time until I'm sure I've found prey I can handle. Plus, I want to avoid messing up and drawing attention from any dragon-class beasts. I scuttle along sneakily. Occasionally, I'll stop to watch some other monsters duke it out, but I don't want to get involved, so I always hurry along before long. Man, the lower stratum is wild. I thought that praying mantis seemed strong, but turns out that's about middling at best down here. Besides the big spider that devoured the mantis, there's a big lion-looking thing with wings, a giant snake that looks like the evolution of the species I encountered before, and all kinds of other crazy monsters. Unreal! To avoid getting involved with any of that, I've been sneaking around as stealthily as possible, which is working for me so far. I mean, if I get caught even once, it's probably game over, so I try to keep pushing ahead without stopping for sleep, but that catches up with me eventually, and my unyielding red stamina bar finally starts decreasing again. I still haven't figured out why it wasn't going down, but in any case, now I'm on a time limit again. I have to eat before this number goes down from 38 to 0 or else. I say that, but I haven't encountered anything I think I can beat, so I decided to go to bed for the day. I'll be honest, I can barely sleep at all. Up until now, I've always slept in at least a simple home, but I don't want to risk standing out more, so I go to sleep without cover for the first time in my spider life. I'm nervous the entire time, so I don't get a very deep sleep. It's not too terrible, but if I continue without a good night's sleep like this, I know it would eventually come back to haunt me. Then again, in my previous life, my average night's sleep was about 4 hours, so I'd probably be okay for a while. So sleep is more or less alright for the time being, but food is becoming a real problem. I have to find a meal in this monster madhouse somehow. That worries me, but it turns out to be pretty easy to get a hold of some food. Suspiciously easy, in fact. It's weird, honestly. The monsters here are freakishly strong, but among them are still some weaker guys like the kinds I've seen in the upper stratum. The snakes are one example. Man, I never thought that day would come when I referred to these snakes as weak. The point is, I'm very curious as to what these puny monsters are eating. I mean, if you're too weak to eat, you're just going to become the main course yourself, right? That's what survival of the fittest is all about, really. And that's certainly how my time in this dungeon has been so far. But some of these guys are even on the chubby side. The bees must have targeted them as their main source of food. So after observing the various weak monsters for a while, I've come to the conclusion that they all have one thing in common. They're all poisonous. It's like a revelation. I have natural poison resistance, so I eat that kind of thing without a problem, but most normal creatures wouldn't eat something poisonous. These guys are weak, but since they're toxic, other monsters won't eat them unless they have poison resistance themselves. By that logic, even if a monster does find me, I might be spared for the same reason. Still, there's no point in risking it as long as I can just keep sneaking along covertly. Anyway, I've discovered that these weak monsters have two main sources of food. One is other small fry. That seems to be the most common method, finding and eating one another. So I figured I'd just wait for a moment when there aren't any badasses around and take out a weakling with a surprise attack myself. Then there's the other thing, the food source they resort to only when they're truly desperate. Elro Gastrush, level 3 status appraisal failed. This creature is shaped sort of like a flat black insect. Actually, it resembles an insect, but kind of acts like a snail. These things stick to the walls of the labyrinth and crawl along slowly in a very snail-like movement. I decided to call them snail bugs. There are tons of these snail bugs in the lower stratum. Anyway, at the time I look at the wall, I always spot at least one. That's how many there are. Why don't the other monsters eat them? There are so many of them. That's what I thought foolishly before I ate one myself. Oh yes, I was foolish. I should have at least prepared myself a little more before attempting to eat one, but there's no use wallowing in regret now. Only after eating one did I truly understand why they are a last resort. That's right, I did it. I ate one. I used the thread to pull it off the wall and finished it off with my poison bite, never realizing how truly horrific the creature was. If only there was exists a skill that would let me go back in time and stop myself before I ever tried. It was unbelievably disgusting. The taste was unlike anything I've ever experienced in either world. Since my rebirth as an arachnid, I've eaten all kinds of revolting meals, but this took the grossest, most disgusting cake. It was so nasty that I actually lost some HP from eating it. You definitely can't call that thing food. Eating it even made my rot resistance skill go up, though that should clue you in as to how unfit it is for consumption. If I didn't firmly believe in not leaving waste behind, I wouldn't have even tried to finish it. Anyway, that's how I discovered that technically I can get food whenever I want, it just happens to involve a lot of suffering. But I mean, if it comes down to eating something so disgusting it makes me want to die, or actually literally dying of starvation, I would have to choose the former. So if things get truly desperate, I will eat a snail bug again. I fervently hope that it never comes to that, though. Oh god. How bad was it? At any rate, I'm doing my best to forget the whole thing and move on. The maze-like zone in the upper area was full of branching paths, but this one is just one long passageway. It's nice that I didn't risk getting lost, but if this path connects to the bottom stratum, how am I ever going to get back? Well, there's no point in thinking about that. I'm sure it's connected to the middle stratum, at least that's what I keep telling myself. Now my red stamina gauge is starting to get a little low. Although I survived eating the snail bug last time, I really wanted to leave that as an absolute last resort. Even now I can see a few of them creeping along the walls, but that's not whetting my appetite. I mean, those things are so gross that even other monsters don't want to eat them. Which is why I want to find a more normal meal while I still have some stamina to spare. As far as a poisonous monster can be considered normal anyway. I mean, I've been eating poisonous stuff for a while now, so it's a little late to get hung up on that. It's not like I don't want to eat something tastier, it just isn't an option. I miss cup ramen. Okay, front check, all clear. Back check, all clear. No dangerous species in sight. Nice, nice. Elro Randonel, level 8 status appraisal failed. Elro Randonel, level 7 status appraisal failed. Elro Randonel, level 7 status appraisal failed. In front of me is one of those close-knit monster trios. These guys really do travel in threes no matter what. However, as I probably should have expected for the lower stratum, the levels are pretty high. If this species also evolves at level 10, then they're getting close. Not that they'll ever live to see that future. I sneak around behind them to catch them unawares. Then it's time to debut my new weapon, the casting net. What? Is that name too straightforward? Whatever. Even I can't come up with a clever name for every single thing, okay? I was rather pleased with myself when I thought of the name for the morning spider, though. But just because I did it once, doesn't mean you should expect me to bust out high-quality puns every single time. Anyway, casting net, go! Now, don't go thinking this is some ordinary old net. This is new equipment. It really does need a better name, doesn't it? Alright, the explanation. Yeah. When I first threw this thing, it's just a clump of thread, but as soon as it reaches its target, bam, it opens up into a spiderweb and wraps around the victim. This weapon is a dream team of delicate web spinning work and careful manipulation with thread control. All three monsters got tangled up in the net in no time. Ha ha ha, now that's a catch. As usual, I finished them off with my Poison Fang skill, Chomp. Condition satisfied. Acquired title, Poison Master. Acquired skills, Poison Synthesis level 1, Poison Magic level 1 as a result of title, Poison Master. Oh, here comes some new titles. Poison, Poison, and more Poison. So Poison Synthesis and Poison Magic, huh? As usual, I have no idea how to use magic-related skills, so I'll ignore them for now. More magic manure for me, I guess. As for Poison Synthesis, I don't really know what that does either. Oh yeah, she can't even see her skills. Wait, so can't she just, try and appraise the name? Even if she can't actually see it in the appraisal? I guess not. I don't really know what that does either. Does that mean poison making? But I'm a spider, so I'm already create that on my own, right? Or maybe not just in your fangs. Maybe you can launch like balls of poison at enemies. Okay, enough about that. I can spend more time investigating my skills later. I have to finish off the other 2 monsters and dispose of the trio. And so, chomp, chomp. Proficiency has reached the required level. Skill Poison Fang level 7 has become Poison Fang level 8. Oh! Did the forecast today call for a downpour of poison? Well, you won't catch me complaining. If 10 is the highest level, then 8 must be pretty darn toxic, right? It sure works well, even on the poison users. This is even better than the new title. Alright, now that I've finished off with 3 monsters, I carry them into the shadows of a nearby rock. Oh, with my crappy stats, it's tough to carry 3 monsters like this. Maybe I should have carried them one by one. Wait, huh? Didn't I do something like this before? And didn't I regret not carrying them one at a time back then too? Don't ask me, that doesn't ring a bell at all. I have a great memory, okay? That never happened. That's all. Got it? Good. Anyway, I decided to test out my new poison synthesis skill a bit while I eat. Except I can't figure out how to use it, so all I can do is experiment at random. And so, poison synthesis, I think, pray, and would have whispered if I had a mouth that could form words. Somehow this actually does something. Like with appraisal, it's as though text is displayed in my head. Poison synthesis menu. Weak poison, spider poison, level 8. What's this now? Oh hey, if this is being displayed in my mind, then appraisal ought to work on it. Venom synthesis menu allows the creation of poison. Weak poison, a very weak poison. Spider poison, level 8, a lethal poison secreted by spiders. Level 8 is very strong. So spider poison is just my original poison. So doesn't that mean that by acquiring poison synthesis level 1, I just gain the ability to make weak poison? I select weak poison to test it out. A ball of liquid appears in the air in front of me, then drops to the ground and forms a puddle. Oh man, do I need to have a container for this or something? Just for kicks I appraise the puddle. Puddle of weak poison. Yep, it really is weak poison. Alrighty then. In other words, poison synthesis is a skill that can produce poison without needing any materials or anything. Then this might have been useful if I were still a human, but I'm a spider, so... Well, depending on how I use it, it could still come in handy. I guess producing poison at no cost is a neat trick. No, wait, what? My MP has gone down. So it wasn't no cost at all. Oh, I just make things even more questionable. As the skill level goes up, the kinds of poison I can make may increase or something, but since I can already make my super strength spider poison, well, I'm not really feeling this ability, but I'll probably find a use for it eventually. If nothing else, it's still better than those unusable magic skills, right? 7. The Second Prince. Sue and Clevia were facing off in front of me, practice swords in hand. Taking advantage of Sue's small physique, Clevia easily deflected her sword as my sister charged. Sue still kept attacking resolutely, but Clevia's precise defense warded her off easily. The petite girl attacked with all her might, but the muscular Clevia's swordsmanship was more reminiscent of an elegantly flowing river. In both appearance and movement, the two of them were totally opposites. Sue certainly couldn't be considered weak, but compared to Clevia's extensive experience in real battle, her skill was bound to fall short. This is particularly unsurprising given that Clevia had sword mastery, the advanced version of swordsmanship, at level 7. Sue's swordsmanship skill was at level 6. So according to a simple calculation, that was an 11 level difference. There was no way to compensate for a disparity like that. Still, there was many times where simple stats could at least prolong a battle. Sue was invoking both magic warfare and mental warfare at the same time. Those were skills that can consume MP and SP to raise both stats, or base stats, and since Sue had so much experience, so much MP, the improvement magic warfare afforded her was nothing to sneeze at. Her physical stats had gone up a lot recently too, so she actually had a bit of an edge on the status front. Still, Clevia was abstaining from mental warfare to create a handicap. If she were using it too, the odds would certainly tip further in her favor. Even without it, she was likely to win anyway. Sue's stats could be a bit higher, but that was a slight advantage compared to Clevia's huge lead in fundamental strength and experience. Sue didn't have a chance of turning things around. Just as I expected, Sue wore herself out on offense and Clevia's counterattack defeated her. Taking a hard thump to the stomach, Sue fell to the ground. Immediately, Anna rushed over to her and cast recovery magic. Brushing the dirt off her clothes, Sue stood up with frustration written all over her face. I lost. If you can fight like that at your age, princess, you'll surely surpass me soon enough. Truly, your talent is a wonder. No need to flatter me. As I was about to walk over to my sullen sister, I heard the words of sound of clapping from right behind me. I don't think that was flattery at all. You really did fight well. Everyone in the room, myself included, widened our eyes in surprise. Not even Clevia and Anna, never mind Sue and myself, had noticed this newcomer. Even when he was standing right next to me, I didn't detect the slightest hint of his presence. Julius! Hey, did I surprise you? Julius, the second prince, and my elder brother by the same mother, chuckled as if he'd pulled off a prank. When did you arrive back home? Just yesterday. I wanted to say hello sooner, but between seeing father, our older brother, and everyone else, I never got the chance. My brother was several years older than me, and he was already working on various things abroad, so it was rare for him to come back to the kingdom like this. Sue, I take my eyes off you for a second, and you get even more talented every time. Your speed of improvement never fails to amaze me. Even though Julius spoke kindly to Sue, she only scowled in response. For some reason, she didn't seem to like Julius very much. Personally, I liked him a lot, since he was much friendlier than my two other elder brothers. More than anything, I respected him. So to be honest, the friction between the older brother I admired and the younger sister I adored kind of bothered me. Come on, Sue, should you really be acting like that toward your own brother? It's alright, Sue's at a difficult age right now, Julius said sympathetically. If you counted my previous life, I was theoretically older than him, but Julius still seemed to outclass me in mental age. How about you, Shun? Want to practice together like we used to? Could we? Yes, please. Getting to train with my brother Julius, I couldn't have asked for more. I could have swore that his actual Japanese name was Shun. Or... Shoot, I'm getting myself mixed up. Was his Japanese name Shu or Schlane? I can't even remember anymore. Damn it. Alright, I'm gonna borrow this then. Of course. My brother took the practice sword from Clevia, who shrank away. She was never this nervous around anyone. I guess it made sense with someone like Julius, though. Okay, ready when you are. Come at me from wherever you like. Right. I immediately activated both magic and mental warfare. There was no sense holding back against my brother Julius. I focused on using all the power I had. Then I shot forward, tracing a diagonal strike from below. My brother effortlessly blocked at me. Though I'd come at him with all my strength, he easily stopped the blow with his sword held in just one hand. But that was what I expected. He never failed to fend off an attack like that. Immediately, I drew the sword back for my next attack. Again, he stopped me without a problem. It was fun. Even trying with all my might, I couldn't touch him. No matter how quickly or powerfully I swung my sword, no matter what complicated techniques I tried, I couldn't get to him at all. I couldn't even begin to imagine how I might get past his defenses. But that was why I felt lucky that someone so skilled was willing to spar with me. It was incredibly fun. However, no matter how much I wished to keep going like this forever, the end would come. My magic and mental warfare expired. Breathing heavily, I dropped to one knee. Very nice, your swordsmanship is very straightforward and strong. It's like there's no limit to how far your talents might go. Thank you very much. I pounded out my thanks. Despite how worn out I was, my brother's breathing was perfectly even. He really was amazing. It made sense since he was a hero, the strongest human in the world. Could I measure up to him someday? If I had one dream in this world, it would be to become his equal. I couldn't even come close right now, but someday surely I'd at least be able to have Julius's back in battle. That was my main goal. King, here, for you. This is liquor local to the Boudier region. Oh, excellent. I never had this before. I'm excited to taste it. The room was clean, but full of documents and papers. That was where I gave my father the liquor I'd brought him as a gift. My father was a big drinker, so big that it had become an open secret that he liked to drink on the sly when he was working alone. So whenever I came back to the kingdom, I always brought some rare alcohol as a souvenir. As the king, my father couldn't simply leave his domain whenever he pleased, so this was always greatly appreciated. By now, it was our custom to have a drink together whenever I brought it. Are you sure you shouldn't be... Shouldn't be working, Father? Oh, it's not a problem. Even if it were, I could just cut down on sleep to make up for it. Spending time with my son when he comes home is far more important than work. The only response I could muster was a wry smile. The work of a king could hardly be so easily dismissed, after all. Besides, Silas has gotten quite good at his work. Even if something were to happen to me, the kingdom would be in good hands. Father, I'll be the first to admit that my elder brother is very talented, but the kingdom still needs you. Please don't say such ominous things. Sorry, my father apologized lightly, and I sighed. Father produced 2 hidden glasses from a shelf and poured liquor into each of them. What a unique aroma. Agreed. In fact, I purchased it because it took such a liking to the scent. I'm sure it will taste just as pleasant. A mellow fragrance filled the room. After clicking our glasses together, my father and I quietly sipped from our glasses. What a pleasant mouthful. Why, I could drink this all day. I was told it's popular among women there too. They say it's become even more flavorful if you drink it with fruit, which is why I brought these too. I presented the fruits I brought with me. My father took a bite of one, then took another sip of his drink. It's very good. Normally I prefer strong drinks, but this sort of thing is nice from time to time too. I agree. Let me just make sure I didn't skip that, because sometimes it does it. He seemed to enjoy my latest offering, much to my relief. I had been a little worried about whether my father would like this drink, since he usually preferred hard liquor. But I hadn't needed to worry. The two of us continued drinking in relative silence for a while. Then I remembered the afternoon's events, and my lips formed a small smile. What is it? Oh, it's just that I saw Sue and Shun earlier today. I suddenly started thinking about it again, that's all. My two younger siblings showed so much promise that it even surprised a hero like me. When I practiced with Shun, pretending to be totally unfazed was actually very difficult. I shouldn't have tried to show off by fighting him one-handed. Next time we sparred, I'd have to fight normally with both hands. I see. What do you think of them, Julius? I'd say they're incredibly talented, especially Shun. If he had been born a little sooner, it might have been Shun who received the title of hero instead of me. It was an honest opinion. In fact, in terms of pure talent, I felt that Shun and Sue far outpaced me. Really, the only reason I outstripped them was that I had the stat-enhancing effects of the hero title. I probably wouldn't lose to them without it just yet, but they would best me soon enough. They had the talent for it. They might still catch me and surpass me yet, hero title and all. Hopefully not, though, since that would annihilate my pride as an older brother. Shun especially seemed to look up to me, so if he became disillusioned with me, he might not recover from the shock. This is a serious situation. I should probably train a bit more so that my younger brother and sister don't beat me. Yeah, let's do that. What are you muttering to yourself and nodding about? Oh, I was just thinking that it's hard to preserve my dignity as an older brother. Come to think of it, Shun seemed to have a certain level of pride as Sue's older brother, too. He was certainly succeeding there. She was distinctly attached to Shun to the point where her jealousy included me. She'd probably grow out of that soon enough, but for the time being, it was amusing how she seemed to see me as a threat to her relationship with her beloved brother. I have a feeling that's not going to go well. I didn't do right by those two. Regret shadowed my father's face. The two of them were born just after the previous hero had met his demise. That was when I inherited the hero title, too. The sudden death of the missing hero, whose whereabouts and actions were unknown at the time, was a mystery. I became the new hero, and the forces of evil rapidly increased their activity. I wonder when that happened. I wonder if our little spider friend had something to do with that. That would suck. With so much happening, my father had no time to spare for his two young children. He cared deeply for his family, but above all, he was the king. He had no choice but to put his kingdom first. My father was very concerned about this. You had no choice. There was so much going on back then. Yeah, you didn't have time to do anything differently. But they still won't embrace me. I suspect that's their response, a very clear one. It's all right. I'm sure they'll understand your position in time. I certainly hope so. My father stirred his drink morosely. If I may speak honestly, there are times when I resent my position as king. I don't just mean with those two children either. Julius, I feel like I should have done more for you too. I never wanted you to have to bear the burden of being the hero. But as king, I have no choice but to send you forth to do a hero's duty. It may be the right choice as a king, but it makes me a failure as a father. After admitting his pent-up feelings, my father breathed a truly heavy sigh. Father, I am proud to be a hero, so please don't say such things. From my point of view, if the title of hero were taken from me, I would be nothing. That's not true at all. That's how I feel. I'm not educated in political matters like my older brother, confident in myself like Leston, or able to form a connection to another kingdom through marriage like my older sister. The only thing I can do is wield my sword on behalf of our people, and all people, as a hero. So don't worry about me, Father. I am only doing everything I can for my own sake as well as others. Are you sure you don't mean willing to do whatever you want, Leston? That's certainly not wrong. My father and I shared a smile. From my point of view, you're more than enough for a great father. So I'll keep working hard as a hero so that I can be of some help to you. Okay, I think I'm going to end this off, and the next one will probably be, maybe the next one will be the last one. I'm not sure. But I'll see you guys in the next video.